And you can draw your own, and if you are not good at drawing, I will make this pattern available. It's on the description below. You can get the link where you can download this pattern. One tool that was designed for your safety could be the most dangerous tool in your shop, and that is your push stick. I have so many of these guys, all kinds of different shapes from different brands, and they are all very dangerous. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very safe and very effective push stick. And it's not just a push stick, it also works as a thin rib jig. And I cut thin strips very often for my inlays, and I'm going to show you how I use the push stick that I designed to make those thin ribs, and how you can make one as well very easily in no time at all. Now, the one thing that makes these push sticks so dangerous is the fact that they're made out of hard plastic. And I don't know about you, but I run my push sticks through the table saw very often. As you can see here, it has all kinds of cuts. I even took a chunk of the yellow plastic over here. Let me show you closer. You can see it's missing a chunk over there. And when you run your table saw blade through the rubber, it's not a big deal. But when you go into the plastic, this plastic, it's a hard plastic, and it could shatter and explode in your face into a million pieces, and you will have shards of hard plastic flying everywhere. And that's what makes these guys so dangerous. Now, I have not been using those push sticks now in a long time. You see there's more kinds of the same stuff. And I have not been using those in a long time now. What I've been using is just like a makeshift push stick. I will show you what it looks like. It was just a plank of wood. It was a 3/4 inch. And I put some sandpaper on it. And you can see I ran it through the table saw so much that there's basically almost nothing left of it. And then for my very thin stock, I just had a 1/8 inch piece of plywood with sandpaper. And this one worked for a good while, but I've decided it was finally time to make something, you know, a lot better that will last me a lot longer. So here I was trying to design my perfect push stick, and I went through a few designs. The one design I've never really liked is this guy's over here. You see, this guy, it's all plastic. I use this one on my router table. This one is safer because it has this foam tip. But the problem with this, guys, is as you're pushing your material, you see your material pivots, depends on which side you're pushing it from. So I don't like this style at all. So I decided to go with something that has a lot more grip on the material. One of my first designs were this one that I thought it would work really well. But the handle was not so comfortable. So then I traced the handle from a hand plane. And I ended up with this design over here. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. And you can draw your own. And if you are not good at drawing, I will make this pattern available. It's on the description below. You can get the link where you can download this pattern. Here is the push sticks that I've been making. I made lots of them. And they're all just a little bit different because I just couldn't get it to be perfect. So you can see I made tons of them. And they're all a little bit different until I found that perfect one. And what makes it so great is the fact that the handle is very ergonomic. It feels great in hand. It has a short heel. You don't even need a heel, but it has a short one. So I can cut thinner pieces of material and thicker pieces of material. And then also it has the sandpaper on the bottom, and I'll show you why that is very important. And I will also show you which sandpaper I use and how to stick it to your push stick. So, why this design? Well, let me get you in a little bit closer. I hope you can see from there. As I showed you before, this kind of push sticks, when you push your material through it, it will tend to pivot your material, and I didn't like that. So these guys, when you're pushing your material, you have so much control because that sandpaper, it's really sticking to your material and it gives you all the control. This one over here, I just cut it. I didn't even take the pattern off of it. If I try to push the material with it, you see it's slippery. So I don't have that much control versus this one. I have all the control I want. I made it pretty long because I Often I will cut something and I need to push away the material from the blade, so then I can use the tip of my push stick to push away the material. And then also I told you this push stick works fantastic for making a thin rib jig. Make reliable, repeatable thin strips. And I've used one of my push sticks, is this one over here. As you can see, I did run it through the table saw. And with this one, now I can make repeatable 1/8 inch thin strips. And the reason this works is because one, well, I have the sandpaper, so I have a good grip of it, and then it has the heel to push it. So the material will never kick back at me because it's always under my push stick. And as I'm running it through, I get exactly 1/8 inch from the fence to the blade, and I can repeat that over and over and over, and it will give me the same strip. Maybe we should just cut a few strips just so you can see how this works. So you saw very safely we were able to do 1/8 inch strips, and the curve of the blade, which is the one in the bottom of my push stick because I ran it through, these sticks will fit perfectly. So if I need to do splines or inlays, this is the way I will make them, and it's super, super easy and very repeatable. Now I should also mention that if you use this to do thin strips, make sure that you have a zero clearance plate because you don't want the strip to fall inside the machine. In this case, this 1/8 inch, it is just a little bit wider than the opening. So you see I cannot push it in. This piece cannot fall between the blade and the fence. So very repeatable 1/8 inch strips. You can do it with just a push stick. So I think the best material to make one of these push sticks is to use 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood. This is what I use. You can also use hardwood. I like the Baltic birch plywood, but hardwood like poplar or something, that will also work. So how do we cut these pieces? How do we put the sandpaper? Let's talk about that right now. So I'm going to pretend this is my 3/4 inch plywood. It's not, it's just a 1/8 inch aspen, but let's pretend this is my plywood. And the way I would do it, first I would put blue tape, cover my whole piece of wood. So I'll use blue tape, cover the piece of wood, and then I will take my pattern, and with some adhesive on the back, I will glue it to my blue tape. So once that is dry, then I went to the scroll saw and cut my pattern out. If you do not have a scroll saw, you can totally do this on the bend saw. You could even do it with a jigsaw. You want to make sure this part over here, the bottom, it's totally straight because you want that to be flat on your piece of wood. So if you cut this on the bend saw, use your fence to cut this bottom, and then move your fence away and trace the rest of your pattern. And then after you cut your piece, you're gonna have something like this. And that's where you see I have the blue tape underneath. This is where the blue tape makes it so easy to peel this pattern. I hope this is easy to peel for me because I cut this piece a few days ago, so this blue tape has been sticking in there for a while. If it doesn't come off, you can always use a heat gun and just warm it up a little bit. That will warm up the glue and it will make it really easy to peel. Something like that. Now it's time to put on the sandpaper. For the sandpaper, I use 120 grit. You can see it over here. And I buy this kind, it comes in a roll and it already has a sticky side, so it makes it really easy to stick into things. So here is my push stick. And I got some scissors. These ones are pretty sticky because I've been cutting some glue stuff with it. I'm just gonna kind of roughly measure how big I need it. About this much. And then I will stick it to the bottom of my push stick, just like that. like I said, has a sticky side. Then I'll get a knife and just trim the excess. So it helps you if you put the heel down from a piece of wood. That way it stays flat and you can just flush trim it easily. And there you go. Now we have our sandpaper on the bottom. And now this push stick, it's ready to use. You can round over the handle. I did not do it on this one, but I have done it on my other ones. That way it feels more comfortable. I rounded over this whole profile except the bottom. I left the bottom flat because, you know, that's where I needed to stick the sandpaper and I want it to be flat so it has more contact with the wood. Now, I know this was a very quick video, but I think safety in the shop is super, super important, and you need to make yourself a push stick. You don't have to use this design. You can design your own. I really like this design. It works really, really well. Also, it works well for resawing on the bandsaw, because when I resaw on the bandsaw, I can use this sideways and apply pressure on the length of the board. In case I'm in a rush and I don't want to use feather board, I can just use this and push the material with and apply pressure all along the board. So super useful tool. Please make yourself some. Like I said, if you do not want to draw your own, use the pattern in the description below. I hope this was helpful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing and I'll see you in my next video.